Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to your communication skills class again. I am Anila Machine, your course tutor, with another exciting episode of presentation skills. That is another sequence of your communication, in which so far we are done with speaking, reading, writing and listening. So our course, basically, if you remember and if you put your folders back and look behind, you would see that what exactly we have done in our whole course. Basically, our main focus and our main objective and our aim is to achieve that comprehension level and that communication level that is required in any business communication skill. So before we actually begin with today's lecture, let's quickly recap that what we have done so far. In the previous lecture, we have thoroughly discussed about the speaking skills as how you can make yourself good public speakers. Now there are ways and there are varieties of how you can appear in front of public and how you can avoid those things which make you a fear of the people who are sitting right in front of you. Once you talk about business, since you are business administration students, it is really very important that you see that what kind of a people you are talking to and what kind of the language that you would choose in talking with them. If you recall all these skills that we have done in the whole semester, you would see that starting from the listening skill, we have learned that how you can make yourself an active listener. That is the first prior thing that is really very important in any kind of the communication. Now, since being the business administration students, this thing is really very important for you to understand that how competently and how efficiently and how accurately you are going to listen to the next person. That was the very first step of our main concern that we have done in our first and the previous lectures. Then we moved on to that how you can develop your reading skill, how you can read the complaints of different people, how you can reply, or how you can listen to their complaints and how you can listen to their queries. And then starting up with these receptive skills or these receiving skills, since you had been receiving the information, we moved on to writing and then speaking. In writing, we have thoroughly talked about different categories, starting from writing a letter, writing an email, writing a memorandum, writing a resume, and so on and so forth. So we have practiced so many things in a very short time as to see that how you can develop your writing skills in a very short time. Now, we have also talked about speaking skill, that how you can speak to the next person as a salesperson or as a representative of any company, as to assure that you are going to satisfy their needs and satisfy their complaints. All these skills basically are practiced thoroughly in your presentation skills. Now today's topic, as you can very well see on the slide on my right, presentation skill is something which encounters all these four skills. Your presentation won't be happening in isolation. Your presentation would be a combination of all these four skills, starting from listening. You may note, as I am noting it down also, you are supposed to concentrate on reading also. Then you are supposed to concentrate on writing. And then you are also supposed to concentrate on speaking. Basically, it is assume that presentation has something to do with your speaking or your communication with the audiences accurately, but that's not very true. Basically, all your language skills, listening, reading, writing and speaking, all of them, they are thoroughly involved in your presentation skills. You are supposed to listen to the people who are basically your audiences, who are sitting in the area where you are presenting. You are supposed to read from the slides, as well as you are supposed to read from the material from where you are gathering the information, from where you are collecting down the information for your audiences. You are also supposed to write down, as you are making your slides, you are supposed to write down the accurate material and the relevant material onto the slides, and then you are supposed to present that in front of the audiences to improve your speaking skills. For enhancing your speaking skills, we are also done with the pronunciation practices, as you can very well recall them. You are supposed to work on your accents. That is really very important, as to make sure that you move on to fluency first. Try to speak as much as you can, so that once you have developed this fluency, you can move on to the accuracy of the language. So this is what our main focus is going to be once we are going to talk about the presentation skills. So grab up your register and your pen so that you can note down all the information, all the discussion that we are going to have today. That's going to be a very interesting topic of the whole series that we are going to discuss today. We will share the ideas and we will also thoroughly discuss that how to make and as well as how to deliver a presentation. So our main focus is going to be first of all that how you are supposed to make the presentation, which will involve your reading and writing skills, and then we would also see that how you are supposed to deliver the presentation, which is going to thoroughly encounter or which are thoroughly going to address these questions of how you are going to listen to your audiences and how you are going to respond to them. So this is what presentation skills is going to be all about. I hope you're really very excited about it. So let's quickly begin with today's lecture and let's quickly see that what we are going to do today. Starting up with, as you can very well see on the slide, there is a quote, a very famous quote: great speakers are not born, they are trained. So you were not born to be a great speaker. To make you a great speaker, we are going to have a thorough discussion today that would make you a competent speaker. So you are in the process of training. This training basically, this whole semester training of communication skills was basically designed to make you good communicators. So you are going to make sure that you listen to all the points and all those rules and all those steps which are really very important to make you a good presenter. Only in that very way you can become one good communicator. So first of all, presentation is not an ability. You are not born a presenter. Nobody can tell you that you were born a presenter. Come on the stage and present something. No, that's not going to be the case. Of course, you will be trained. In the beginning, if you remember, we have thoroughly discussed this word skill. If you remember, skill basically is not an ability, that's an ability to do something through a proper process. Now that process is something through which you go through to find out that what exactly you are going to learn in the whole reign of starting from point 1 to point 10 or from point 1 to point 100. So that's something that you are going to learn from A to Z. So you developed this skill is developed through experience and training. Now you, for example, in the beginning, as I keep on giving you the examples also, if you remember in the beginning we have thoroughly discussed also that what basically is the difference between experiencing something and innate ability of something. Now this innate ability, let's write it down. Innate ability of doing something is something that is there within yourself. Now you know that how to draw something. You are good at drawing. When you were so young, your mother and your parents, your mother, your father, they realized and they found out that you are very good at drawing. So they put you in the art school. There you have learned to paint. There you have learned to use different mediums, like starting from oil paints, pastel colors, oil pastels, canvas painting, sculptures, carvings and all this stuff. So this is what you had been trained to do that. You were born artist, but the training and through experience you have become one famous and one competent artist. Same goes with the language also. As you can see that everyone knows that how to speak. All of us have this ability, or all of us know how to speak a language or how to use words. Actually, we are basically familiar with the language sounds, but speaking accurately and communicating accurately and perfectly is one thing that you would be experiencing, that you would be going through into the training. So here you are being trained for that how to present on the stage. So nobody is born presenter. Each one of us go through a special process, go through or come across a special experience to make ourselves a good presenter or a good communicator. So presentation is not something that is innate or that is there within you, or that is not something that is inborn quality. So we won't call it innate, or we won't call it an inborn ability. That's something you learn through experience and you learn through training. So you are being trained. We will discuss in today's discussion. You will get some points and you would get to find out some rules and regulations of how to actually present on the stage. Now, the agenda of today's lecture and today's discussion, that first of all we are going to discuss presentation, that what exactly is presentation and how do we define presentation as. Then second thing that we would discuss would be planning your presentation, that how exactly you are supposed to plan for the presentation if you are being allocated or if you have been allotted one topic to present on in front of the audiences. So how you are going to plan for this presentation. Then we are going to also discuss the presentation sequence. Now, presentation does not happen just like that. There is a proper beginning, there is a proper middle, and there is a proper ending. So there is a sequence for everything. So for making the presentation, since we are in the process of understanding that how to make and how to deliver a presentation, we would see that what exactly are those steps or what exactly is that sequence that is required to deliver a presentation. Then we would also discuss the effective presentation techniques. We would also see creating effective visual aids, how you can create them and how you can present them in front of the audiences. And we also call presentation skill the 3-stage process that we are going to discuss in today's lecture thoroughly. So that's going to be the agenda for today's lecture. Now let's move on to the next slide and let's begin with the introduction of today's discussion. So now, first of all, let's begin with the definition of presentation skills. There are different definitions of presentation skills being presented by different renowned authors. First of all, let's see the first definition of presentation. That is something set forth to an audience for the understanding or for the attention of mind. Now, this is something. Now, we would also explain that what exactly is that something. This something basically has a focus on one particular topic. You are supposed to exactly elaborate that topic in front of to an audience. Now that audience could be a group of people. They can vary from situation to situation. The strength may vary from situation to situation. So that's the group of people for the attention of the mind. Now here something has to be something that is going to be the attention of mind of those audiences. Now that topic has to be very strong. Even though that's not very strong, you're supposed to present that in some way that is going to become something really very interesting for your audiences. So your audiences should be attentive while they are listening to you. This is what is going to be presentation, a good presentation. Now your presentation would be effective, producing a desired result. Now you are supposed to, as in the first definition we have seen, that this is something that is set forth to an audience for the attention of mind. If you are able to get them involved in your presentation, if you are able to get their attention towards your topic, this is what you call that you are achieving your aim and you are achieving your goal. So your desired result was to get their attention, and if you are successful in doing that, only then your presentation would be very, very effective. So producing a desired result through making your audiences understand and becoming attentive towards the topic that you are presenting in front of them is known as presentation. So I hope that the concept of presentation is clear to you. Presentation is something that has a goal, and towards that goal you are supposed to grab the attention of the audiences. So if you are able to get the attention of the audiences towards your goal, it means that you are a successful presenter or your presentation was an effective presentation. Now, most of us have this fear. Now, what exactly happens once you think or once your teacher tells you that you are supposed to present tomorrow or you are supposed to present this thing in front of this number of audiences tomorrow? What exactly happens to you? What is your number one fear? Yes, you fear more than that. Oh my God, tomorrow is my presentation. I am not at all prepared. How would I appear in front of so many audiences? How would I make them attentive to listen to me? My topic is not really very strong enough to, grab their attention. How am I going to achieve my goal of delivering my topic in front of the larger number of the audiences? You are doing what? You are actually panicking yourself and you are fearing more than death, as if this is something that is going to take you away. So this is not a rocket science. Come on. Presentation is something that is really very easy. You are supposed to relax yourself once you are going to hear from your teacher, from your supervisor, or from someone that you are supposed to present tomorrow. So presentation, it really happens to it. That's basically a human nature, that once you are supposed to or once you are asked to present in front of the number of the audiences, there is a fear that you fear more than death. The facts are that you have your shaky hands. Sometimes once you listen and once you know about the tomorrow's your presentation, even during presentation, if you know that after 2 minutes you have your presentation, sometimes people, they have this kind of shaky hands. Sometimes they are blushed, they have blushing cheeks. Sometimes they have this memory lost. Oh my god, I forgot everything, everything that I was supposed to say. Some people, they start laughing on the stage. Some people, they start crying on the stage. This nausea is another thing that happens to most of the ladies once they are being asked to come and present in front of the number of the audiences. And the knocking knees, you have these shaking or knocking knees. People, they are shivering from head to toe, and they don't know that how to exactly stand and how to exactly face the audiences eye to eye, and how to say first word. Even saying a first word is also very kind of very complicated thing, or it also becomes very fearful thing for most of the people, because presentation is not something that you are being asked to do every day. This is a very rare thing in our lives. Now basically in our lives, every day we are presenting. If you see it other way around, we are presenters in everyday life. You are presenting yourself in front of so many people, like being a shopkeeper, you are presenting your shop. Being a mother, you are presenting, or you are presenting in front of your whole family. Being a son, you are presenting in front of your family, as well as your friends, as well as your neighborhood, and every that stuff. So whatever people you see, whatever people you meet every day, whatever kind of the information you are exchanging with them, you are actually basically presenting some idea or some thought. You are basically trying to achieve the goal of conveying your idea in the simplest way to the targeted audience. Now this is not very difficult, or that's not a very rocket science, but once it comes to a quiet scenario where there are people sitting around, their eyes on you, and you are supposed to come and step on the stage and to see all of them, and to experience that thing that is going to make yourself or make you sometimes blush with blushed cheeks, sometimes shaking hands, sometimes memory loss, sometimes nausea, sometimes utterance problems, sometimes knocking knees, and there are so many other problems that can happen with anyone around. So try to find out that what is your number one fear when you are asked to present on the stage. Write it down, and then we will discuss it later. Presentation basically is not anything that is rocket science, or that is something really very difficult. You are supposed to relax yourself, and you are supposed to decide that what exactly and how exactly you are supposed to begin your presentation. So try to feel normal, since in everyday life we are presenting in front of the audiences, and we are presenting our ideas and our feelings. Same goes in the presentation. You have one particular topic, now that's more easy, and that's more kind of practice thing, where you are supposed to deliver the material that you have prepared well. So try to feel normal. Do not panic, do not shake your hands, do not shake your head. There should not be any memory loss. Now in today's discussion, we would see that how you can make yourself normal while you are supposed to present in front of the audiences. Now there are some causes of anxiety, like shaking hands, nausea, and sometimes you have these blushing cheeks, and sometimes memory loss. There are some causes of these anxieties. The first thing is fear of the unknown or the loss of control. Now first of all, let's discuss this fear of unknown or the loss of control. Now you don't know what is going to happen with you once you are going to start your presentation, and then you are going to deliver your presentation. You don't know what is going to happen. Maybe there is electricity failure and everything turns off, and you are supposed to continue your presentation on your own. Now this is a fear of unknown. You don't know what kind of the audiences would be there who are going to listen to your presentation. That's another fear that is there in your mind that can cause anxiety, or that can increase your anxiety level, and that can create problems for you. Sometimes there is a loss of control, you lose your temper. Sometimes maybe if you are not able to say something, you start reading from the slides. So these things should be thoroughly avoided in your presentations. There are two modes of presentation. The first one is fight mode and the second one is flight mode. How many of you want to go for the flight mode and how many of you want to go for the fight mode? Do you want to fight your presentation or do you want to flight your presentation? The choice is yours. If you want to fight your presentation, it means that you are fighting hard with your material that you are supposed to present in front of the audience, and that you are also at the same time you are fighting with your audiences to make them understand that what exactly you are trying to make clear, or what point you are trying to make. Now this fight and flight mode should be taken clearly into your mind. Flight mode is that you have one particular point, like the aeroplane has got the flight. The aeroplane flies from one particular destination and it lands on one particular destination. That is known as one flight. So you have one point, that is your beginning point, and you have one point, that is your ending point. You are landing somewhere. However, your fight can end up in anything. So you are supposed to go for the flight mode that has one proper beginning. You are supposed to have one particular objective of attaining or of achieving your presentation. Now, from moving from one point and landing on to the other, it means that you have or you were successful in achieving your objective and becoming or achieving your goal. So you are supposed to take flight mode clearly once you are going to find out that you are going to deliver a presentation. Another cause of anxiety is going to be or can be no backup plan. Now, if you have a USB with you, you are supposed to present outside your organization, or maybe you are supposed to present outside your university. You have that USB with you and you go there and you give them your USB and say that my presentation is in it, and after 5 minutes you have your presentation. Now the lab attendant and whatsoever the person is going to be, he is going to get your presentation copied in their system, but what they find is that you haven't, or the USB is maybe not opening. Maybe the file doesn't have any matching with their computer. Maybe there is a problem. Now, another thing is no backup plan. Now, this backup plan is really very important once you know that you are supposed to present either in the premises of your university or you are going to present outside your university. So, you are supposed to go with the backup plan. Another fear or another cause of anxiety can be that you don't have any backup plan. Now you are presenting in front of the number of the audiences, the presentation is going on and suddenly there is an electricity issue. Maybe you have found that there is something missing in your slides. Maybe you have forgotten the explanation for something that is written there in your slides. So there should be a backup plan. For the backup plan, there is one very good idea that you are supposed to keep these hand notes in your hand so that you can look at those hand notes. They should be, paper size, very small size, of hardly from 2 to 2 inches. Like if this is going to be the slip, if you must have seen those yellow sticking slips that you can keep in your hand for the references, for keeping the meanings of the words which are difficult in the slides, and you can put them into those pasting papers so that you are going to remove all those papers once you are going to, as you are moving on with your presentation. So if you don't have any backup plan, if you don't have any backup plan, like if you have electricity crisis and you are not having any handouts with you, that can create problems for you. Sometimes no enthusiasm for your subject is another cause of anxiety. Your teacher has assigned you one topic to present or to be presented, but you are not enthusiastic enough for presenting that topic, but your main goal is to present that topic in front of the audiences to get their attention. So that has to be very, very important, and that becomes really a very important task for you. So that also becomes one cause of anxiety that should be overcome. Then the focus of attention, you don't have your focus or you are unable to get the attention of your audiences. Sometimes you are not yourself attentive in your presentation, since there is a lot of fear that is, that is banning you to, see and to achieve your goal or to attain your goal. So these are some of the causes of anxiety that we are going to, look after, and that we are going to discuss in upcoming lectures and today's lecture as well, as to see that how you can become one good active presenter. Effective presentations, basically in your effective presentations, it is seen that you are mostly, or you have this control over your anxieties. You are not going to fight your presentation, you are going to flight your presentation. Flight, as you know very well, means, in the previous slide we have also discussed, that you are going to take your presentation to one particular destination, as to make sure that you are going to achieve your goal. Then effective presentations are audience centered. Now, how to make your presentation audience centered? By involving them. And how you can involve them, this is what we are going to also discuss in upcoming lectures also. A good effective presentation accomplishes the objectives as your presentation is moving in the flight mode. So it means that it is going, or it is starting from one point, it is going or towards the second point. It should be fun for the audiences. Your presentation should be fun for you as well as your audiences. It doesn't mean that it's going to be full of the humor. It means that the exciting things should be there, that is going to attract the attention of your audiences. It is conducted within the time frame. Your time frame is also very important. If you were asked to deliver your presentation in 20 minutes, it means that you are going to complete your presentation in 20 minutes. Not 20 minutes exactly, you are supposed to complete your presentation in 15 minutes and 5 minutes for the question answer session. Don't forget that your presentation should be divided into the parts. That one we are also going to discuss today. There is a proper sequence for everything, a proper beginning, proper middle and proper ending. That's what we would decide, and that's what we would also discuss, that how you can divide your time accordingly. Now, moving on to the next step, as you know that we are done with the introduction to your presentation. So presentation is something that is set forth in front of the audiences for their attention of mind, and good presentations are made for the desirable, or they achieve the desirable results. So presentations should be moving in the flight mode. That's what we have understood by our first part of the discussion. Now, moving on to the second part of the discussion, how we are supposed to plan our presentation. Now, our first step is going to plan our presentation, and for the planning, as you know that this is going to be your topic, so you would see thoroughly that how you are going to plan for that topic to be presented in front of the audiences. Now, let's quickly see that. First of all, for planning your presentation, you are supposed to determine your purpose. First thing, you are supposed to determine your purpose. For determining your purpose, make sure that you have one particular objective, one particular goal, one particular aim, one particular purpose that you want to, or that you are supposed to achieve by the end of presentation. Like there is one particular destination, just like a flight mode, you have one particular destination that you want to reach. So in other words, you are supposed to determine your purpose, that what exactly you want your audience to know through your presentation, and what exactly you want to achieve through your presentation. For that, you are supposed to assess your audiences. Success depends on your ability to reach your audiences. Now, once you want to achieve your objective, or if you want to achieve your purpose, or if you want to achieve your goal, it is really very important that you know what kind of the audiences you would be mingling with, what kind of the audiences you would be meeting with, and what kind of the audiences you are generating information for. So for that, make sure that you know, first of all, that what is the audience size. What is the basic size of the audience? Are they 25? Are they 50? Are they 75? Are they 100? Are they 5? Are they 10? So accordingly, you are going to design your presentation. Accordingly, you would see that what kind of the graphics you are going to put. If they are 100 in number, of course, that's going to be a very huge auditorium. where you are going to, you know, present. So it means that the graphics, the kind of the graphics that you would be adding in your presentation should be large ones. They should not be very microscopic ones, as nobody can see them and as nobody can understand them. So you are going to be then accordingly, you would plan that what kind of the graphics you are going to put them in, what kind of the knowledge level the audiences are coming from. Are they graduates? Are they professors? Are they students? Are they local people? Or what kind of the people? Are the business people? Like inshallah in the future you would be going all into the business, so being the business administrator and being the business expert, you would see that if the people from the other organizations are coming to, you know, listen to you about the product that you have designed for them, so what kind of the things, what is going to be their knowledge background and what kind of the information that you would be inserting into your presentation. So this is how you move accordingly. The fourth thing is motivation. Assessing your audience, for assessing your audience, motivation is really very important, that how you can motivate them and how you can inspire them, how you can, you know, grab their attention to listen to or to get motivated or to, you know, see that what you have to talk about. Only if in that very way, if you are going to make them attentive, only then you can achieve your basic comprehension and only you can achieve your goal. So these are some points for planning the presentation. The first one was determining your purpose and the second one was assessing your audiences. The third thing that you are supposed to keep in mind is to planning of the space. Once you know that what exactly is going to be your purpose, what exactly is going to be major objective of your presentation, and then you have assessed that what kind of the audiences you would be presenting in front of. The third thing that you are supposed to plan for is the space. Now the space should be seen by you if that is available to you. You would see the number of seats, first of all, number of seats, how many number of seats are there, what kind of the seating arrangement is there, is that going to be is that going to be in the circle, or they are going to be just like a classroom sitting, or they are sitting in a meeting room, or any other shape of presentation. So you are going to check accordingly that what kind of the seating arrangement is there, so that you can move yourself accordingly. You would also check for the audio and visual equipment. Before starting your presentation, make sure that you have seen and you have checked all the audio and visual equipment so that you don't have to panic at the last moment. And you would also see the distractors if there are any sharp lights that, you know, annoy you sometimes or that distract your attention. Sometimes if there are any windows, sometimes if that's a very you know, distracting kind of environment where people are coming and going. So you are supposed to see all these things and to overcome them before you actually start your presentation. So this is how you are actually basically planning your space. Make sure that there is a proper distance between the seats of the audiences, the seating arrangement of the audiences and yourself, so that you can approach them if they have any question or if they have any queries, so that everyone, each one of them can see you and you can see everyone, and this is how you can, you know, respond to them and get their attention towards your presentation. So the fourth thing, after you are done with the purpose, assessing your audiences, planning the space, the fourth thing that you are supposed to keep in mind is what day and time you are supposed to present. Any day, maybe that's going to be Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, or any day of the week, but make sure that your presentation happens in the morning time. So if you are being asked at what time you would like to present, make sure that you answer morning, because in the morning your mind is fresh, your body is fresh, you are energetic, people are energetic, they want to listen to you and you want to tell them whatever you have in your mind. So if you are being given a choice for presentation, make sure it's morning or any day of the week that suits you will become day of your presentation. The fifth point is the organization. Now for organizing your presentation, make sure that you determine the main points that should be 2 to 5. Like in the beginning or in today's presentation, you must have seen that the agenda was shown to you. Now agenda was shown to you that 2 to 5 points which are the basics of your presentation should be discussed with your audiences thoroughly in the beginning, so that they know that what exactly you are leading towards. If you don't have any destination, if you don't have any objective, or if you don't have any goal to attain in your presentation, that won't be a very easy thing for you to achieve throughout your presentation. Provide evidences and prepare an outline. For evidences, make sure that you are coming up with the facts and figures, and for preparing an outline, like the way we prepare an outline for essay writing, for paragraph writing, make sure that you prepare an outline for your presentation as well. So these are a few points for making or for planning your presentation. For making the presentation outline, as we have also discussed, making the outline for essay writing and for paragraph writing. Now let's see that how presentation outline can be made and how it can be helpful in making your presentation a success. So first of all, write down the keyword reminders for making the presentation outline. As you would see, or as you must have seen in the beginning of the lecture, that we have started up with the introduction, then planning your presentation, then we would be moving on to talking about or inserting the graphic aids into your presentation, the three-stage process, and so on and so forth. So we have identified that these are the things, or these are the major points, or these are the key words which would be the main focus of our presentation, and that our presentation would be revolving around. Secondly, in your outline, you would see that what kind of the conversational flow you would be moving in. Now, if you have identified the keywords, like this is your keyword number 1, this is your keyword number 2, this is your keyword number 3. Now, you are supposed to see that what is going to be your conversational flow. Are you going to take point number 1 at one place, then this one 2, this one 3, and this is how you are supposed to divide your sequence accordingly. So there should be a conversational flow. Those things which are supposed to appear in the beginning should appear in the beginning, and those things which are supposed to appear in the end should appear in the end. Your presentation should be flexible. Now, whatsoever is written on the slide should be really flexible, as if that's going to grab the attention of the audiences, and if that's a very interesting topic that is going to take their minds, so they may ask you some questions, or they may start sharing your ideas. So your presentation should be flexible to welcome their thoughts and ideas as well, more responsive to the audience. So audiences should be more responsive to the words, or the collection of the words that you are choosing for your presentation. So make sure that the kind of the keywords that you are selecting for, that you are choosing for making your presentation, should be those which are going to make your audiences attentive towards your presentation. Now, there is one question that comes in our mind, or that must be coming in your mind, that why to give a presentation, and why a presentation is such a rocket science to be delivered. There are three main purposes of delivering the presentation. Basically, being the BBA students, this is really very important for you to see and to learn that how to exactly deliver a presentation. Since in your business administration, you would come across the situations when you would be providing information to someone. Sometimes if your company has made any product and you are working as a sales executive or sales representative, you're supposed to persuade the attention of the audiences, like the multinational companies are doing today nowadays. Like they try to persuade people to buy their product. Like you must have seen these different ads of different these companies of mobile phones, let's say, or sometimes like Nokia, like Samsung, like iPhone, like Galaxy, and all these phones, and sometimes these these SIM cards of Ufone, of Jazz, of Warid. So all of them, what exactly they are trying to do is to persuade the audiences towards them. Come and get this, and we will give you that. So this is what you call persuasion. You would be going into the business, and you would get to know that how you are going to persuade your audiences to buy your product. Now, sales is all about it, accounting is all about it, and your business world is all about it. Sometimes you present in front of the people to educate them. You give presentations like you give them presentation in the current scenario for the education, and sometimes for boosting up the morale of the people. Sometimes these are leaders. They give us speeches, motivational speeches for educating us for good and bad, for right and wrong. So this is how presentations are being used. First of all, for information informing people, for providing the information, information about any product or any service or any good things that you have done or you want to present in front of the audiences. Sometimes for persuading, as I have already elaborated and explained to you, and sometimes to educate people about something or about any product. Now all of them, they are similar yet different from one another. Your presentation can have any purpose, or you can decide whether your presentation is going to be persuasive, whether your presentation is going to be informative, or that's going to educate the next person. Now let's quickly discuss the presentation sequence. I hope that now you know that how you are supposed to plan for your presentation, starting up managing your time, then determining the purpose, assessing your audiences, planning the space, and then deciding the day, and then deciding the organization. We have also talked about the main purposes of the presentation, why to give a presentation and why to deliver a presentation. There are three basic purposes. You may educate people, you may inform people, or you may persuade people. There may be different purposes of presentation, but overall the presentation remains the same. The delivery of the presentation remains the same. So there is one presentation sequence that we are going to discuss now. First thing, there is a sequence in which you would be going and in which you would be delivering your presentation. Now that you have planned for your presentation, for making your presentation, now see that how you are going to deliver it. And for the delivery, or the starting from making your presentation till the delivery, you would see that how you are going to move step by step. So there is one proper sequence that we are going to discuss now. First, number one rule is to build your rapport. Building a rapport is one really very important thing. Once you know, or once you have planned for your presentation, starting for determining your purpose, you have determined your purpose, and you have seen that what kind of the things or what objectives you would be taking your presentation in. You would also decide that who is going to be the audiences. You would also plan the space accordingly, that what kind of the space you want for your presentation. You would also decide the day and time for your presentation, and you would also see that how you are going to organize your presentation. For building the rapport, you would see that relation marked by harmony or empathy. Now, rapport is built or known as the relation which is marked by harmony and empathy. Audience or members who trust you and feel that you care. Now, if you are the presenter and there are the audiences, you should be for building a good rapport with them, it is really very important that you build the harmony and empathy with them. Before you begin, mingle and learn their names. First of all, that's going to be the one rule for building a good rapport. Now, there are audiences, you come before time. Now, you are supposed to start your presentation at 10, and you come, or you came in that very place, or you found that place at quarter to 10. Now, what exactly you would do is you would mingle with the people, you would learn their names, you would chat with them. Since you are supposed to create the good first impression, since the meaning is yours, you are there to present and you want to make your presentation good one. So it is really very important that you come before time, you welcome people, you learn their names, you mingle with them. As you are building your rapport and as you are trying to build your impression, since you remember that first impression is the last impression, so make sure that people, they try to mingle with you, they want to talk to you, they like you, they find you good, they find you friendly, so that once you are going to deliver your presentation, once you are going to start your presentation, they listen to you carefully. People listen to the people they like. Now, if you are supposed to present in front of the number of the audiences, and you go there and you are sitting there in the isolation sometimes, and you are not talking to anyone, other people, they are talking to each other, and when there comes a time for your presentation, people would find you sometimes proud, sometimes rude, sometimes not easy to mingle with, because they don't like you, because you had been so rude and so isolated from them. So the first rule for making your presentation good, or the first number one thing in the sequence of making your presentation or delivering your presentation, is building a rapport. And the way you would build a rapport is to mingle with the people by making or by creating your first impression. Now, the second point is opening your presentation, how you're supposed to open the house for your audiences. Now, you know the name of the different people and you have mingled with them. Now, there is a smile on your face and you go on the stage, and how you are supposed to open your presentation. First of all, you are going to introduce yourself, that why should they listen. Now, introducing yourself doesn't mean that you are going to introduce yourself that my name is this and I am coming from this and my father was this and my mother was this and I have done this and I've done that. No, that doesn't mean that. You are supposed to present yourself as the representative of so and so company. Now, on the behalf of company, you are presenting something in front of the number of the audiences. Now, what you would do is that you would say that I am so and so, I'm Mr. ABC or I'm Miss ABC from so and so company, and I would be delivering this very product in front of you, and you would basically talk about the product and why audiences should listen to you, because you have one major aim, that I want to present this product in front of you and I want to talk about, or I would be discussing with you its specifications. So you are going to, in other words, trying to get them or trying to, tell them the clear objective of your presentation. Get attention, build more rapport, introduce topic. You can begin your presentation with the humor. Maybe there are people who are so much smooth to go with their presentation. Sometimes they start their presentation with the humor. Sometimes telling the short story. Maybe that is related to the topic that you are going to talk about. If you would listen to different people in current life, you would see that how by telling you a story that is relevant or that is related to your topic, they start their presentation. How you may also start for the getting the attention of the audiences. You may float a question, or you may make your audiences think that, have you ever thought about this thing, or have you ever heard about this thing? So they would automatically start thinking. So make your audience think. That is going to grab their attention, or that is going to get them to the point. Invite participation. Maybe you can ask question, maybe you can float a question like, does anyone know about this? Does anyone know about that? So everyone is going to start participating into the presentation. This is how you can basically get the attention of the audiences in the beginning of the presentation. So opening your presentation in this way is going to be another very good idea of involving your audiences into your presentation. Get audience response. Now, once you are going to get the audience's attention, now they are being attentive to your question, you are going to get their response. But make sure that this presentation does not end up there. You are in a process of beginning your presentation. You are basically opening the door of your hall towards your audiences. Second thing is completing the opening. Now that you have opened the forum for your presentation, you are supposed to, once you are done with the discussion, you would come back to the point of your presentation and you would clarify, or you would clearly define your topic, that what exactly and how your topic is related to the short story, how your topic is related to the thoughts the audiences have about them, how your topic is related to the questions that audiences have in their minds. So you are going to, in other words, clearly going to define the topic of your presentation. If informative, you are going to, if your topic is going to be informative, you are going to clearly tell them the parameters and ground rules for content within time. If that's going to be the persuasive, you are going to talk about that what's the problem and who cares and what's the solution. So if you are going to persuade someone, you would tell them that what exactly is the problem around. Who exactly cares? If the audience cares, then you are going to talk about the solutions of that very problem that interests or that tries to get the attention of the audiences. In other words, you are going to give them an overview of your presentation by defining or by elaborating your topic of presentation. Your step number 3 is going to be presenting the main points as if you are providing them the solution. That is going to be the major agenda of the presentation. You would make sure that there are supporting evidences which are based on the facts and figures. Then you would also include some examples from your daily life or from the practical life. You would also add the feedback and questions from the audiences. You would get their feedback about the topic that you are going to present in front of them, and you would also invite questions from the audiences. attention to and focus on audience listening. So make sure that audiences, they are attentive to and they are focusing on the information that you are providing them. So the attention of the audience is really very important. If you see someone yawning, if you see someone looking outside the window, if you see someone, you know, just nodding their head and making or doodling on their paper, it means that they are not attentive. So for making your presentation effective, it is really very important that you make them listen well. Now, step number 4 is concluding your presentation. Now that you know that which aim or which goal you are going to achieve, for concluding your presentation, your goal is really very important. Inform audience that you are about to close so that they get to know that every information that you wanted to provide to them, or every information that was required for them to understand the main topic, that has been conveyed. So you have achieved your role, and if still there are any confusions, they can ask you any questions. In the end, summarize your points, like you give a summary, then something to remember or call to attention. Give them any kind of thing that lets them think about the topic that you have floated them, and then there should be a question answer session in the end, as to make sure that the audiences, they get to know that what exactly, or you find out that you have achieved your goal of the presentation. Now moving on to the part 4, that is the effective presentation techniques. Now let's quickly see that what are these effective presentation techniques which are required for making a good presentation. First of all, the presentation style. There are 3 major elements that you are supposed to keep in mind. The first one is vocal techniques. Now your vocals are supposed to be very, very clear. Like, I have a sore throat today, so that I cannot speak really very loud to you, but you are supposed to make sure that your loudness really encounters a lot, or it matters a lot. Loudness doesn't mean that you are shouting at your audiences. It means that you are loud enough to be heard to the last bench of the audiences. Then the pitch, there should be proper pauses, proper intonation, proper fall, proper stress on the words that you are going to use during your speech. As in speaking skills, we have practiced paraverbal activities as well. So make sure that you take care of the vocal techniques in your presentation. Deviations from the standard for emphasis. So deviations means that you are going to put your stress on the words which you find are important. So deviation from the normal or standard language, the monotone that you are using is going to be one good idea for improving your presentation or the vocal technique of your presentation. Other 3 elements are your body language, which are going to be added into your non-verbal communication, your eye contact, your gestures, your posture, and the use of space. Now, the place where you are standing, make sure that you can see everyone and everyone can see you. If you can't see everyone, of course, it means that everyone can see you. And if there is any backbencher, or if there is any person who is hiding, make sure that you change your place to make sure that they can see you also, so that you can see them also. Now, moving on to the next slide. There are some common problems also, like verbal fillers, like ooh, like I mean to say that, I mean to do that. Yeah. So these kind of verbal fillers which are used in your conversation should be thoroughly avoided to make your conversation a good fluent presentation. Any unrelated word or phrase should not be added in your presentation just to grab, or just to gather the get the attention of the audiences. That creates them, or that manipulates the meaning of your sentences. Swaying, rocking, and pacing should also be thoroughly avoided during the presentation. Hands in pockets is another very bad idea of that's another non-verbal behavior that makes your presentation end up or don't end up well. Lip smacking, like you put your lip into your teeth, and lip smacking is not another very good idea. It means that you are forgetting something, or it presents nervousness in front of the audiences. Failure to be audience-centered. You are continuously talking and nobody is responding. People are yawning, they are looking outside. These are some common problems which should be thoroughly addressed during the presentation, as to make sure that your presentation achieves or attains its goal. There are 5 presentation tips which are going to be very, very beneficial for you to make your presentation a success. First of all, smile. Now, smile doesn't mean that you are going to start your presentation like this. Assalamu alaikum everyone. That doesn't mean that. It means that you are going to have a slight smile on your face to make sure that audiences, they are going to listen to you carefully. Now this slight smile should come on your face once you enter the place where you are supposed to present. Breathe deep. Now before you actually begin your presentation, maybe you can forget words, maybe you have this fear that you are going to forget everything. Do not panic. Take a deep breath and then start your presentation. Assalamu alaikum, I am so and so from so and so institution, and I will be presenting this product to you, and I'll be welcoming all your questions and all your queries. Does anyone has any idea of what is this product all about, or anyone has ever used this product? So this is exactly how you start your presentation, with a deep breath. It gives you a room for making so many sentences spontaneously. Water. Taking water is another good idea. If you are panicked or if you are so tense about your presentation, take water. Take one sip, take two sips, take water, and then say something that, attracts the attention of the audiences. Another tip, another golden tip for you is to keep notes. Keep those pasting slips in your hand that are sometimes visible to your audiences, so there is no embarrassment in that you are keeping these notes into your hand. You are keeping them as a backup plan. Do not read from the notes, but keep them as a backup plan. Finish on or under time. That's going to be another important tip. Make sure and keep your eye on the watch so that you can divide your time accordingly. Now moving on to the part 5 of the presentation, for creating the effective visual aids. How you can create the effective visual aids for your presentation. The question is that why do we need visuals? The things that I listen, I remember. The things that I see, I remember more. So in other words, it means that the things that you see can be remembered for the longer period of time. So visuals will help you make your audiences understand the thing better for the longer period of time. For the visual aids, enhance the understanding. If you talk about a mobile phone, as well as you show them a picture of the mobile phone, that's going to be a very important, or that's going to be a very good thing for them, as they have seen that, as well as you are talking about them. It adds the variety to your presentation. The audiences, they will have something to see other than your face. It supports your claims, whatever you are claiming, that it is this much slim, it is this much good. So the picture that you would show, or the visual that would show, is going to enhance, or it's going to support your claim. It has lasting impact, as I said, that the audiences, they are going to remember forever. Visual aids, there are examples of the visual aids. PowerPoint slides can be used, overhead projector can be used, graphs and charts, pictures, films and videos, flip charts, sketches, and there are so many examples of using the visual aids, or there can be other examples of visual aids that you can show to your audiences. But for the visual aids, keep in mind that visual aids should supplement the presentation. Like, it should be supplement for the presentation. Your presentation should not be wholly solely based on all the visual aids. They should provide an outline of the main points. They serve for the audience needs, not speakers, and they are simple and clear for the understanding of your audiences. Now let's talk about the last step of today's discussion, that presentation is a 3-stage process. Now let's see that what exactly and how exactly it is divided into 3 stages. The first one is creation, where you are creating something. The second one is preparation, and third one is presentation. Now let's discuss each one of them one by one. For creating your presentation, make sure they tend to be overlooked by many, but it is a crucial step in making the presentation. Now for creating the presentation, make sure that you have selected a topic. The topic has to be there. Selecting the clear objectives and specific goals. You are going to actually decide the destination where you are going to take your audiences. Conducting a research. Going to the library, maybe surfing on internet, maybe gathering the relevant information. Audience analysis, that one we have also discussed in the previous discussion as well, that how you are going to assess your audiences, and creating an outline, for which I have provided you some tips also. Using Microsoft PowerPoint for creating, which tool or which visual aid you would be using for delivering your presentation. inserting content, that how you're supposed to insert the content into the PowerPoint slides. That one we will also talk about in the upcoming lectures, that how you are going to see that what kind of the background and what kind of the fonts you are going to use for making your presentation, using appropriate media or the medium for instruction or the medium for presentation, preparing the additional material if there is any like hyperlinks, adding up any hyperlinks into your presentation, and confirmation process. So all of these things should be encountered or should be countered while you are creating your presentation. Now moving on to the next slide, that is the stage 2 of making the presentation, that is preparation. Now that you have created your presentation, the next step is preparing the presentation. You have to have rehearsals. Look yourself into the mirror. Try to, look into your PowerPoint where there is a time machine which will tell you that in how much time can you rehearse. Then sleep well the night before you have your presentation. Sleep well the whole night so that you look fresh in the morning. Dress for the occasion. Make sure that if you are going to present, make sure that you go in the 3-piece. Ladies may wear something decent that is presentable. So try to look presentable and try to look decent, and arrive early on the area where you are supposed to present. So these are some points that you are supposed to take care of while presenting, while preparation. Stage 3 is presenting. Now you are delivering the presentation, and for presenting effectively, make sure that at the beginning of the presentation, introduce yourself, title, and the background if necessary. So yourself as well as the title of the presentation and the background that you are supposed to provide or you want to provide in your presentation should be provided if that is necessary to provide, or provide the background to your audiences. Now it depends, or it is dependent on the audience's background, what kind of the background they are coming from. Set the theme for the presentation. You can add the humor, you can tell them a story, you can ask them a question, or you can let them question you. Try to involve the audience into your presentation. Explain the ground rules if there are any. If you don't want to interfere, if you don't want to be interrupted during the presentation, tell them in the beginning as a ground rule that please reserve your questions for the end of the presentation. Keep noting down the slide number. As you can see that there is a slide number on every slide. Put slide numbers on every slide so that you can tell them that you are supposed to keep noting down the slide number, and then they can ask you the questions in the end of the presentation. Specify the agenda and the outline. Your agenda and your outline should be cleared or should be conveyed to the audiences in the beginning so that they don't have any confusion that what exactly is going to be the last point of your presentation. Since audiences, they are so much worried about that how many slides are in there and how many stuff you are going to discuss with them in the whole discussion. Another thing that you are supposed to keep in mind is to use the PowerPoint slides as a guide. Do not read from the slides. You are supposed to keep them as a guide. Like the way you are keeping these hand slips in your hand, make sure that PowerPoint slides are being used as a guide. Look at the slide. Your bullets should not be more than 4 words or that are keyword, that is a reference word. Look at them and then elaborate that reference word for your audiences. Involve the audiences. Ask them questions, involve their participation, put the activities into your presentation so that your presentation can become one effective thing. Start your presentation on time. If there are the audience numbers, welcome them in, or if there are not any audiences, make sure that your door is open for them all the time. Have confidence in yourself and look confident by mingling with people, by chatting with them, by learning their names, and make sure that audiences, they like you because people like listening to those people whom they like. Eye contact, look at everyone, don't stare at them because that is going to also make them encounter or make them feel bad about that what exactly is going on. So have this strong eye contact with each one of the audiences who is coming across. Another thing, your body movements, that is your gestures, your non-verbal communication is another very important thing that is to be kept in mind. Your voice, effective pitch, the stress, intonation, fall is also another very important point that you are supposed to keep in mind. Do not speak in the monotone that can make or that can create your presentation or that can make your presentation boring. Poise, your standing posture or the sitting posture should be the alert one. Handling the questions should be actively done, and reminders should be given to the audiences time on and time forth. It brings us to the end of today's lecture. Let's quickly recap that what we have done in our today's lecture. We are supposed to follow the three-stage process that is started from creation, preparation, and presentation. Be clear about the purpose of your presentation, set your goals, set your theme, set your main destination of your presentation, and move in the flight mode. Rehearse well, maintain eye contact, and be comfortable, mingle with the people, have chatting with them, and build your rapport. Follow the PowerPoint creation tips and tricks. If you or if you would, try on PowerPoint presentation, you would get to know that how easy it is, how friendly PowerPoint kit is for you. Provide appropriate amount of information in the time allocated, and answer the questions confidently at the end of the presentation. Do not panic, do not create hassle for others as well as yourself, so that you can create good presentation for yourself and your audiences. So that was all for today. In today's lecture, we have done with the introduction to the presentation skills. I hope that now you know that what exactly are the presentation skills. We have also discussed planning your presentation, the presentation sequence, effective presentation techniques, the three-stage process, and creating the effective visual aids for your presentation. So that brings us to the end of today's lecture. I'll see you in the next class again. Take very good care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.